Hey there. What are you guys doing? In my room? Well, since you're here, let me tell you something I've been thinking about. Saints Row 2022 isn't bad. You guys are just mean. Let me explain. Now, allow me to give a disclaimer. In the Saints Row series, I've only ever played Saints Row 3 to completion multiple times, as well as a brief stint in Saints Row 4 and an even shorter stint in Get Out of Hell. So, what I want to say to you guys before you start leaving me mean comments about how I don't know anything about Saints Row, you're right. I had to do a lot of research for this video, particularly on the first two Saints Row games since I never played them. But, personally, I think I have compiled a good amount of information, and am more than willing to learn new things from you guys. Now that that's out of the way, go ahead and leave me your comments, and maybe I'll make a follow-up video later on down the line. So last month, at the end of August, Gamescom 2021 happened, and we got our first look at the brand new reboot of the Saints Row franchise, aptly being referred to as Saints Row 2022, but called simply Saints Row. And oh boy, it looks like the more general consensus surrounding the game from the more vocal YouTubers has been, well, not amazing, I guess. In my honest opinion, I think the general worries and negativity surrounding the game are pretty unwarranted. Like, we saw, what? A CG trailer and then a gameplay trailer the following day? Like, I get it, that's all we had to look at, but come on. If I took out a frozen burger patty to cook and you immediately tell me how you're not eating that because it doesn't look like the other burgers you ate, I'd look at you sideways and ask if you wanted me to at least, I don't know, cook it first? So what I'm here to try to do is put some of the minds of gamers at ease by taking a look at the trailer and then also talking about some of the concerns of the fans and... Huh? I'm sorry, what? Volition put out a statement while I was writing the script. Okay. Oh, and some of the new gameplay has made people more accepting of the game. Oh. Okay. Well, shit! First, we're shown some shots of the desert, which leads us into the new setting of Santo Ileso. A shirtless man gets a call from another man that the caller ID tells us is named Eli as they discuss what seems to be a drug deal underway. Cut to a shot of a woman scoping out the dealer as they call for someone named Nina to be ready. We are then shown Nina watching the drug deal go down and the dealer is killed as they make some quirky remarks about it being unprofessional.
Yeah, they shot the dealer.
That is so unprofessional.
Now remember, when this trailer was being shown, nobody knew what it was for. And just from what we've seen, nothing about the trailer really screams Saints Row the way the other trailers had before. But that's not always a bad thing. The buyers leave and we see the crew they're associated with as Eli and Nina get into position and signal Kevin to continue the mission. Kevin asks what everyone would like for dinner, suggesting his famous chili con carne as he puts on a motorcycle helmet that has cat ears and a display visor with a cat face on it. We then see just what the boys in orange were buying. High-tech, military-grade rocket launchers. Ah, now we're getting into the more wacky and zany territory of Saints Row. Oh boy, I wonder what happens next. Well, to give a short summary, Kevin distracts the tough-looking thugs, as I will refer to them from here. Eli and Nina steal the car full of rocket launchers from the thugs, which leads to a big-ass car chase, and the fourth member shoots all the thugs with a freaking Gatling gun. Fast forwards to a backward driving roof car chase scene, then to a rocket launcher standoff, blowing up the big thug guy, and one last explosion to cap things off. So, what wasn't Saints Row about that? I'm honestly having trouble understanding what was so wrong with that trailer that has everyone all like, they ripped the soul out of the game. How could they take everything out of Saints Row that made it fun? And I get it. Maybe there was something in the first two Saints Row games that I didn't get in the third one. Which leads me to... So, if you're like me, which Why would you ever want that? Then you two have never played what is known as the original Saints Row. Now, this includes both Saints Row 1 and 2, because some people's Saints Row experience started off differently due to console exclusivity. So before we continue making any more comments, let's give some respect to where it all started. By also making comments about those games. Look, it's not a perfect system, okay? Just roll with it. The original Saints Row came out in 2006 at the height of GTA clones. Is it right to call it just another GTA clone, though? Well, for my money, and the fact that it was literally derived from the concept of GTA, also before San Andreas brought the whole gang thing, yes, I think it's fair to say it was another GTA clone. But, and this is a big but, it had its own character. You see, Saints Row was actually the first open-world sandbox game for the 7th generation of consoles, being released on August 29th, 2006 for the Xbox 360. Yes, it was an Xbox 360 exclusive, and that's something people tend to forget. But the game was about you joining a small street gang and gradually helping to bring the 3rd Street Saints to the top of the gang empire. The appeal is all there, and it helped to gain Saints Row a dedicated fan base. Also, like, Keith David was in the first Saints Row as the voice of Julius, and that's honestly, like, fucking amazing?
You ready for this, player?
Like, just for that one fact alone, I understand why people love this game. Look, honestly, I wanted to go on a lengthy rant about how people probably don't know who Keith David is, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. I mean, like, why would it bother me, right? Like that doesn't bother me. No, I mean, how could I be bothered when he's just, I don't know, the voice of Dr. Facilier and the Princess and the Frog? Or like when he was Akoto in Princess Mononoke? Or like the cat in Coraline? What about like several voices in Rick and Morty? Or what about the CIA director in Agent Cody Banks and Agent Cody Banks 2 Destination London? Moving on to Saints Row 2, a lot of fans see this as peak Saints Row, since this was a lot of fans' first go with the Saints Row franchise. This game was released for PC, Xbox 360, and PS3, so it's no wonder this game is held in such high regard when it cast a net so large and hit big time with new and old fans of the series. Saints Row 2 sees you waking up from a coma, escaping from prison, and working to rebuild the 3rd Street Saints back to its former glory. From what I've read and watched, the general consensus is that Saints Row 2 is, by all accounts, super encapsulating. Over-the-top fun that includes activities such as painting buildings with the shit that comes from a septic tank truck. It was a simpler time. Mixed with an emotional story that actually tugged at the heartstrings of the player, made a game ripe to get invested in. Now look, I know I didn't say a lot about OG Saints Row and Saints Row 2, but that's because I don't have a lot to go on. I never played the games. People see flaws in Saints Row, but they still love that story. And Saints Row 2 was, by all accounts, a generally good game. From what I've read, it definitely improved upon the first game in both story and gameplay. So what else do you say about a game like that? Saints Row 2 was just good. Full stop. However, all right. Let me take you through my first experience with the Saints Row franchise. And that game is Saints Row the Third. Now, Saints Row 3 had a lot to live up to, due to the overall love and affection the second game received, and people to this day still see Saints Row 2 as pinnacle Saints Row. But let me show you something. Even Volition, the game's creator, regards Saints Row 3 as their poster child. And look, I know what some of you are going to say. But look, they have Saints Row 1 and 2 in the same kind of cases at the top of the shelves. Now, I'm no interior designer, but when you look at this image, what do you see first? It's smack dab in the center of the room. They even got the shoes on top of the shelf. Volition knew what they were doing when they put up these plaques. Hi, sorry, editor's note. I forgot to mention, Saints Row the Third is the only game that was remastered just last year in 2020 for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, does that sound like a cash grab? Yeah, probably because it was. But I feel like Volition and Deep Silver also knew that Saints Row the Third was kind of the crowning jewel of the Saints Row series. Sorry, I'll let you get back to the video. In my personal opinion, Saints Row the Third refined the Saints Row formula into its purest form. Over-the-top action mixed with solid gunplay and a really compelling storyline. Yes, Saints Row the Third was more silly and honestly wacky as all hell, but that's what made it fun. Whereas its competitor at the time, GTA 4, was a more serious, dark, and gloomy story, Saints Row the Third was made to be a bright, colorful, and fun story with over-the-top antics. And yes, they killed off Johnny Gat, which was probably one of the dumbest things, but it was meant to give the story some backbone. The Saints up to this point were living it up, large and in charge, and we as players needed some way to see that our cast isn't bulletproof. Also, with such a large cast, someone needed to go, right? It was that slap in the face that we as players needed to keep playing the game. I, however, had no emotional ties to Johnny Gat at all. So when he died, it was more, to me. Just saying how I feel. Oh, and look, I won't be talking about Saints Row 4 or Gat Out of Hell because, for my money, they weren't amazing. Like, honestly, I didn't really care for them that much. Like, I know people liked them, but I don't know. It's kind of meh to me. But I have them both downloaded, so maybe I'll play them and give you my review at some point later on down the line. Anyway, let's move on. So now that we've established a baseline overview of the Saints Row franchise, I wanted to talk about the critiques that Saints Row 2022 has generally received in its short existence on the internet and give my take on them. They don't look like the original Saints. Look, this is a huge criticism I've seen floating around, and honestly, I guess I kind of see it, but I think it's reaching. The characters look like they'd hold their meetings in a Starbucks, not a gang hideout. And the characters in Saints Row the Third looked like they were hopped up on roids and went to the gym every day. Do the characters in Saints Row 1 look like gangsters? Yes. What about Saints Row 2? Yes. Saints Row 3? Yes, but that's the whole point. They don't inherently all look the same. And if you look at popular cultural depictions of gangsters, you will see loads of different looks. From the mob to the cartel, it's all different. Mostly everyone in Saints Row 1 through 3 looked like early to mid 2000s dressed people. These characters are made to look like what style is in today, to show a gang in today's culture. And none of their looks are woke. The fact that there is a character who is literally doing this stuff to pay off student loans, why does that make you upset at this game? Have we as a society not been like joking around about student loans for like a really long time now? Like, it's a meta joke. It's a joke at the expense of capitalism and just how fucked our society really is that a person could possibly look to turn to crime to pay off student loans. Do you get the joke yet? Like, these characters are supposed to represent people who you might see walking down the street and wouldn't know that that person is wrapped up in some sort of gang. Except for Kevin. Kevin's a fun time, okay? Leave my boy Kevin alone. Look, he cooks, and if you think that having a cooking trait makes you woke or some sort of, like, weakling, just how about this? Look at Pantheon from League of Legends, okay? This man wants to be a baker. Are you really going to make fun of this man? This man who was strong enough to kill a demon as a mortal? Not immortal, amortal? I rest my case. Oh, and yeah, the default boss is a black woman with a pixie cut. And if that makes you in any way mad, oh dear God, you need help. Look, I'm not gonna harp on this, but find a therapist and figure out why seeing a black woman with a pixie cut in a position of power makes you angry. Thank you. They dropped everything that makes Saints Row fun and are turning away from edgy. Okay, like, look, I get it, all right? Crude humor is fun. You remember swinging around that purple dildo in Saints Row the Third, right? Right? Of course you do. I'm sure it was the time of your life. But the fact that people are getting upset that they turned freckle bitches into FBs and rim jobs into gym robs obviously don't see the jokes. changing the names, that's the joke. That's the joke. That's the joke. And you obviously understood it enough to get angry, but it was made for you to see and say, oh right, that was called rim jobs. Ha 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 ha. And look, here's why I see this as a non-issue, okay? We haven't even played the game yet. We don't know what sort of jokes they're going to make in it, okay? Let the game come out and then judge it based on its own merit. And look, if the game comes out and its jokes are trash and it is entirely a cringe fest of woke content, I will review it as such. But the game hasn't even come out yet. Please, can we try the food before we judge it, please? And look, last thing, I know people are mad that it's like an Epic Games Store exclusive, but we're still getting mad that games are timed exclusives now. Like, I remember a time when it was only exclusive to that console and never coming to anything else ever. Yeah, I get it. You don't want to have to download another launcher, but like, competition breeds better things for the consumer. You understand that, right? Steam had a hold on the PC game market for how long? And yeah, I hate Fortnite as much as the next guy, but having another marketplace on PC is a good thing. Realistically, Valve had a monopoly, so they could do whatever they wanted. Now, they have to try to step it up and make it so that publishers want to put their games on Steam first. Console exclusivity gave these gaming hardware companies more incentive to make their platforms better for publishers and gamers alike. Just remember, competition in the marketplace breeds better things for the consumers. If that's your only takeaway from this video, let it be that, I guess. I don't fucking know. So here's the thing. As I was doing my research and writing the script for this video, Volition put out a statement that basically covers everything I wanted to say to all the players complaining about the new game, which if you want to read that whole thing, it's linked down below. So you might be asking yourself, why did I make this video? Well, aside from, you know, spending hours of research time that I would never get back writing a fucking script? Well, the developer's putting out a statement, that's one thing. But if we, as fans of these games, talk to each other, engage in conversation, then we're more likely to come to a better understanding that we can then take our agreements and give them back to the developers. Because, after all, we're the consumers. In my opinion, the game isn't just about, oh boy, we're millennials and we just became gangsters because it's fun and we want to be woke. Was the wording of the original statements weird and probably gave the wrong impressions of the game? Yes. But this is the literal first we are seeing of the game. And I get it. First impressions are everything. However, oversimplifying what you are seeing and jumping on the bandwagon of negativity before a game has even really been able to show what it's got, it'll keep you locked into an opinion when you've only seen, what, 10% of the game? Look, genuinely, I was blown away by Saints Row the Third, okay? But Saints Row 4 and Gat Out of Hell really left me bored. Even though Keith David was in Saints Row 4 as literally himself, which, like, that's the serotonin I need. It was just the whole Masters of Time and Space concept. Just kind of give me meh vibes. Same for, like, Hell. It's like, eh. So, coming into my first look at Saints Row 2022, I didn't expect much. And yeah, maybe that's why I was willing to forgive more things, because my bar had already been set so low, but I don't know, I just think the things that people were and are still mad about seem to be more about thinking that the team up Volition was going for like a politically correct game here, which just doesn't seem like the case. When it comes down to it, Saints Row 2022 is, at least in my opinion, a love letter to what made Saints Row fun in the first place. At least from Saints Row 2 onward, you know. You've got a cast of characters that, in one way or another, are fairly interesting. That goes for both the Saints and the rival gangs. An over-the-top goal of overthrowing and then subsequently becoming the top of the gang empire, mixed with stupidly ridiculous weapons and zany antics that will probably get boring after you do it for the 10th time. But hey, we can't be perfect, right? Gotta get that gameplay somewhere, right? Also, like, we didn't talk about this, but, like, did you see how good the game looks? Like, holy shit, I am so ready to explore the fucking desert of Santo Ileso. Like, does anyone realize that the desert is, like, the weirdest place for shit to happen? Like, did we forget about GTA 5? Holy shit, I cannot wait. Hi there, it's me now. Totally unscripted. I don't have a script for what I'm going to say at the end here. I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. If you finished the whole thing, which, Jesus Christ, thanks. It took me about a month to really sit down, write this script, and get it all together. And it kind of came out of, and this isn't sponsored, by the way. I'm not sponsored. But this came from a Skillshare course by MKBHD called YouTube Success, Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD. So Marquez, thanks so much for taking the time out to make that course. It was really a great course to go through. Hi, sorry, another editor's note. I forgot to also thank ColorShed, who provided all the footage for today. All his reviews are on YouTube if you want to watch his reviews for everything from Saints Row 1 up until Saints Row 4. Please go watch him. His channel will be linked down below. He's a really fucking awesome commentator, and I think his reviews are super solid. So do yourself a favor, go watch his videos. Okay, back to the outro. So, yeah, that's about it. That's all I got left for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more content like this, because this is the kind of content I'm going to be trying to put out now, at very least once a month, hopefully 2 times a month. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, other than that, once again, my name, Eternal Darkness. Stay in the darkness always, my friends, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. All links to my socials are down below and whatever. So yeah, love you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.